Thanks, listeners. It is time for today's edition of Elko Live here on KELK with our community news. We are so pleased to feature a couple of guests who are collaborating time, talents, and resources to bring us another extraordinary event for Elko. And this one is focused on good health. We all need that. We have Fallon Dalling, who is with Kinross, Bald Mountain External Affairs Specialist. And Fallon, what a pleasure to see you across the desk here today.
Thank you, Lori. Good to see you too.
And today, Steve Burrows joins us from the Northeastern Nevada Regional Hospital. Steve is Director of Community Relations. Steve, welcome to our program.
Thank you so much, Lori. It's a pleasure to be here.
So we're going to talk about this really cool event. Some of you may remember it from late in the school year last year, but it's the Health and Wellness Carnival, and it's really a neat opportunity pairing up with communities and schools. And I wondered, Fallon, Kinross is a big supporter of this between you and Steve. Let's talk about it. It's happening right away.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a fantastic event, promoting health and wellness, especially at younger ages, to give them those tools it's immensely beneficial and something they can carry on, lifelong. It's something you never stop learning about. And so it's fun to present it to them in dynamic ways. For us at Bald Mountain, for instance, a lot of times we can get our ERT team out and have them work on lunchtime activities. So last year they had some of the ropes out and the kids really enjoyed it. So, they get to learn cool stuff while also, checking in on their mental and social wellness, nutrition, just kind of bringing all the different components of what health is, because health isn't just physical. There's so many different things that come into that definition.
Absolutely, Fallon, and you got to be healthy. If you want to be a gold miner, you got to sustain yourself, certainly. And Steve Burrows, I think this is obviously a natural fit for the Northeastern Nevada Regional Hospital, because even though we love our hospital, it's there in times of emergency. It's times of joy too, giving birth. There are a lot of wonderful experiences when you find a cure and someone is healed and the broken arm is set, all the things that go on. But obviously the goal is to try to steer people away from the hospital if we can, by keeping them healthy.
Absolutely. So our mission at the hospital is making communities healthier, and that means that really we want to work ourselves out of a job in some ways. We want to talk about prevention and talk about what we can do throughout our lives to stay healthy, so that you don't have to come into the hospital for an emergency. Obviously, we're here for family care. We're here with our physician practices to do checkups and annual physicals, all of those good things. We want to help people wherever they are on that kind of spectrum of health. But if we can reach kids early, if we can talk to these 5th and 6th graders and help them to start building healthy habits, that's going to be so beneficial in the long run. And hopefully they won't have to come see us too often as patients.
Oh, that's wonderful. Maybe they'll be there as practitioners, which would also be nice too. You got to be healthy though. Going back to school, it's important to have that foundation of nutrition, sleep, a balance of exercise, right, Fallon? I imagine that's all contained in the Health and Wellness Carnival.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. The Health and Wellness Carnival, and that's happening Wednesday, August 13th, but also within the entire curriculum that is happening the following week at Flagview for the students there. And, for Kinross, one of our tenets is putting people first. That includes the communities that we serve. So, by putting our kids first and promoting all the wonderful aspects of health and wellness, and let's see if they can be practitioners, right? Like, for instance, we have a clinic at our Round Mountain site. Mining isn't just, working in, one particular part. There's so many different facets to it. But also just being a human being, right? Like if you're not practicing good sleep hygiene, good nutrition, other things like that, that can impact so many different parts of who you are within your professional world, but just when you show up also at your family time.
And this whole endeavor is called Level Up for Health, and it is a great way to start back to school, again, which the first day for students is going to be Monday, August 18th. Teachers are already back at it, a lot of teachers, and we shout out to you. You've already been in your classrooms getting things ready for the students this season. So let's talk about, in addition to, the Health and Wellness Carnival, as you talked about, at Flagview is Wednesday, August 13th from noon to 4. 4. So that's kicking things off. But then that leads into all these various activities, right?
That's right. So Level Up for Health is something, actually, it was really Kinross and the hospital that kind of brainstormed it a few years back. And we were just coming out of the pandemic. And the idea was, what can we do to jumpstart health? As so often students had been siloed or they'd, been home on screens for so long. What can we do to really kick off that focus on health and wellness? And the idea, the metaphor within it is leveling up, which of course goes back to video games, and people spend so much time, gamers spend all this time and energy leveling up their character in the game and, doing all the different skills and getting all the XP, the experience points. And we just ask the question, and we ask the kids this every year, is what if we took that same focus and that same intensity and applied it to our personal wellness? What if we wanted to level up ourselves, not just our video game characters, but our actual selves? And so we have kind of 4 areas of focus. And throughout that first week of school, starting on Monday the 18th, each day will be a different focus. So we have Mindful Monday, which is all about self-awareness. Then we have Tasty Tuesday, which is about nutrition, and also oral hygiene and dental hygiene, making sure that we're taking care of our teeth. Wednesday is Workout Wednesday, which is all about getting active. And we're not talking about, going and lifting weights with all these kids and being in the gym for 4 hours a day. But really the recommendation is 60 minutes of physical exercise a day. And that's for that age group. So Workout Wednesday, getting out, being active, getting off the couch and, getting outside a little bit. And then the last day is Thoughtful Thursday, which is all about social health and those strengths that we have that contribute to our social well-being and to our society as a whole. So those are really the 4 areas of focus, and it's so much fun with just having all that time with the students.
Oh, Steve, thank you. Steve Burrows from Northeastern Nevada Regional Hospital. So obviously what he's describing, this is not a program or just a presentation. This is activities. These are activities that we're asking students to engage in, right? Fallon, there's some great examples.
Yeah, no, we really are. And I guess I don't know if it's the best way to put it, but for student buy-in, the activities are instrumental, right? Like Workout Wednesday, doing jumping jacks with the students to get their blood pumping, other things like that, where like for the social awareness, the game that we play, it really helps them get to know each other, learn little tidbits that maybe they didn't know before we started it. So I really think that just that student excitement and the interaction just makes it, it just makes it tops for sure.
Well, and again, the variety of activities that are included, and it looks as though each participating student is going to get an activity card. You can take these activity habits home with you, talk about them with your brothers and sisters and your siblings, right, Steve?
Absolutely. So we give every student a card, and there's got to be an incentive, right? So some prize that they can earn. So it's kind of like a big bingo card, and they try to check off as many activities as they can throughout the week. If they check off just I guess it'd be 10 of them, 5 down and 5 across on their bingo sheet, they end up getting a free t-shirt, which is really cool. So, I've learned in my role that people will do a lot of things for a t-shirt. They get excited about that free t-shirt. So we have some nice t-shirts with our Level Up for Health logo. And then if they get all of the activities done, so that's 25 spaces on their bingo card, they'll actually be entered into a drawing for a scooter or a skateboard. And those, of course, come with helmets. And those are actually thanks to our friends at Kinross Bald Mountain. They sponsor the prizes every year. But the activities are so fun because it's, go for a walk around the field at lunch. Or for the social awareness, write a thank you note to someone. Say something kind to one of your classmates. With kind of the self-awareness, it's look in the mirror and write down what you like about yourself. So often we're focused on our flaws. We look in the mirror and it's the things we don't like. But what do you actually like about yourself? When we give them all journals at the beginning of the week so that they can be writing about these things throughout the week and hopefully continuing journaling as a self-awareness exercise throughout the rest of the year.
And these are really perfect for middle school age. That's the target, right, Fallon? Because, you can catch them before you get to high school. And we know it takes some time maybe to establish healthy habits or new habits in particular. But this sounds like a really good interactive age group.
Yeah, I think it really is. And I think it's good to get to them at this particular, what is it, 5th and 6th grade level, because, really at the end of the day, what we're looking at is getting them at an age group where they are, at the maturity level to understand the information and want more information. And so even things though, like writing a thank you note, right? Sometimes you may think that just sounds like something that, you did 30 years ago, but in all actuality, it's really relevant to today. And the different individuals that you interact with. And so just even getting little, things in their minds like, oh, I should write a thank you note, or, I'm going to walk around for 10 minutes today because I just need to get my blood pumping. They're really important, and they're things that they can always build off of as well.
Very inspiring activities. We're talking about the Level Up for Health fitness program that is coming to the Flagview Intermediate, beginning with the kickoff, the Health and Wellness Carnival, and there are many community partners. We're going to get to be able to thank them and describe them in this program as well. But again, these are really inspiring activities, and parents, grandparents, family members, these are things that you can, read this activity card, and you can really do these things together and make a meaningful difference. And like Fallon was describing, maybe it's just a 10-minute walk, but that will really make a difference. Like you said, getting that circulation going. How about this? How inspiring. Talk to someone face to face and try to understand their point of view. I mean, that's very sweet.
And kind of just putting down that screen for a second, right? Human interaction is still so very necessary for our mental health. And so I think that's important to actually have a conversation and learn how to have that conversation at the same time. Not make it one-sided or, oh, I don't agree with you, so I'm not going to, I'm done, I'm going to shut down. Like, have a good, full-sided conversation, right? Or full-fledged, I guess I should say.
It's all about that. That's such a great way to that civic engagement, Fallon, and creating that true understanding and care for someone else. And empathy, that's the word, right, Steve?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's one of the huge focuses for the whole week but just understanding and having that compassion, that kindness for those around us. Like Fallon said, we're going to come across people who don't agree with us, and that's okay. That makes us stronger as a community. And so we do talk a lot about strengths. One of the activities on Thoughtful Thursday is, first of all, on Workout Wednesday, we talk a lot about physical fitness, but then talking about what are our social strengths? What do we have that maybe someone else doesn't have, or what's a strength that someone else has that we don't have that we can work on? So empathy is one of them. We have kindness, curiosity is a strength, creativity, leadership. We really get the students thinking about, so what are my strengths? And we encourage them to go home and talk with someone who knows them well. Really, what are your strengths, and what are some areas where you can build out those strengths? And so that's actually a really fun activity as well.
It's a perfect kickoff to the Elko County school year, which begins on Monday, August 18th. But the Health and Wellness Carnival is for students from noon to 4 p.m. at Flagview Intermediate on Wednesday, August 13th. So it is brought to you in part by communities and schools. And so, Fallon, do we want parents to come, students and parents? And is there any particular target you're looking for here as far as age and students?
I think, it's a one come all, right?
Oh, good.
We definitely want interaction and fun. Make it family time, right? At the same time, this is, let's include everyone, really.
I think that was the only thing we heard last year was like, this is so cool. I wish everybody could do this. And it sounds like a lot of people can really do this, right, Steve?
Absolutely.
I don't think you're going to turn people away.
Nope. The more, the merrier. All of us can work on our health and wellness, right? It's an ongoing journey and an ongoing process. What's kind of neat about the carnival is it's tied in with Back to School Day at Flagview. So if parents are coming to meet their children's teacher, they're coming, especially for those incoming fifth graders, they haven't been on campus. This is a chance for them to come in and see the campus. But we want them to bring siblings. We want them to bring the whole family. And really, anyone who comes, we want them to come and get to meet all of the different vendors. We call them vendors, but really, no one's selling anything. It's local nonprofits, exhibitors who are just talking about the resources that they have for our local students and their parents. So at last count, I think we had 14 different nonprofits or clinics that are going to be there. it's free of charge to local businesses and nonprofits if they'd like to be there. The only thing we ask is that they bring a carnival game, something fun for the kids to do, so that the students can be engaged, and then they can really talk with the parents and talk about the services that they provide. So I have to give a shout out to the Commercial Family Fun Center. They're letting us borrow their big old carnival game set up. So we'll have a whole midway set up there with games and all sorts of prizes. So it's really meant to be just a fun time for the entire family.
Oh, that's so nice. Dr. Edwards and his family, they are very generous with the community, and especially with things like this. The Health and Wellness Carnival kicks off a full week of back-to-school activities with a focus on health and wellness. Brought to you in part by, of course, Communities and Schools is hosting the carnival on Wednesday, the 13th, noon to 4 at Flagview Intermediate. But we're so pleased to have our representatives here today. Fallon is with Kinross Bald Mountain, and we have Steve from the Northeastern Nevada Regional Hospital talking about this ongoing effort. And I see you have a lot of other community partners, folks that you want to mention, Fallon and or Steve?
Yeah, I mean, this is, it fully takes a village, right? So, you've mentioned the hospital, communities, and schools, but, you're certainly looking at Nevada Health Centers, UNR School of Medicine, Nevada Outdoor School, Ruby Mountain Recovery. I mean, without these wonderful organizations, we wouldn't be where we're at today. So it's definitely fantastic to continue to see this event grow and the community support around it.
And I'll jump in and just really give a shout out to Communities and Schools. This is something that they've really kept going, and I think their presence there at Flagview, it's one of their schools where they have a full-time site coordinator, and we couldn't do it without them. It never fails. We're like, we need to get all the apples to the classrooms on Tuesday morning for Tasty Tuesday, and they're like, hey, we'll take care of it, and they jump right up. And so a huge shout out to Maria Dorado, to Trisha Webb, and to their whole crew there. They are actually going to be cooking up hot dogs at the carnival. So not just hot dogs, but we also have some healthy options. We'll have carrots and apples and water. So anyone's welcome to come get lunch there. And so we're really excited about that part.
Yeah, if Communities and Schools is involved, it's going to be a wonderful, healthy, involved activity. They do so much for our community. They are helping to keep students in school, meeting their needs. It's a national organization, but they respond at a local level. I mean, they're not just statewide, for example. They don't have, state goals, or they may have statewide goals, but they have local goals so that they'll meet what the needs are in the community, whether it's backpacks or snacks or helping a student get a haircut or new clothes for back to school. And they do it in a way that enhances that experience and gives that student pride and hope and positivity too. So we really want to thank Communities and Schools. I'm glad you gave them a shout out, Steve. That's really kind.
And I will say that I know they have their night at the races coming up on Friday. So it's a big week with all the back to school resource fairs and everything. And I was talking with them. I said, well, we need to get together and assemble all the boxes for Level Up for Health, because we give each teacher a box with all the supplies and the curriculum. And I said, can we do that Friday morning? They said, well, that night is our night at the races, but we'll make it happen. Aww. And so we're getting together Friday and getting that done. And then folks are invited to go right over to Night at the Races, which is a big fundraiser for them.
It's a big fundraiser. It's at the Elko Convention Center, I believe, the East Center. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like it sounds. I mean, they have taped races. I think you can do some friendly, fun wagering. Oh, it's all about hats and
that's right.
Yes,
derby hats.
Derby hats. Yes.
Some fun, dresses, and you can dress up for a second, pretend like you're at the Kentucky Derby or something.
Nice, yeah. So it's a very unique event. And again, all the proceeds benefit a year's worth or more of activities for Communities and Schools. So it's a chance to be generous and support this organization. Thanks for reminding us of that too, Steve. Steve and Fallon are our guests. Again, we've been talking about Level Up for Health, which is a week of activities. But hopefully, Fallon, again, the inspiration is that not just for the week, but for the rest of their lives, if possible.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, students, the youth, they're our future. And so, if we can invest in them even in this way, like that's the best thing that we could do. So, yes, the hope is that this instills a love of lifelong learning, but kind of like you and Steve were talking about earlier, really brings that empathy, brings that kindness, because health and wellness is not a linear journey, and it's okay that it's not a linear journey. So, teaching it in a way that says, hey, guess what? If you grab that bag of Doritos like that day, it's okay. But maybe tomorrow have a few extra carrots, whatever it may be, right? But it's not.
They're both orange.
Yeah, I know, exactly, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe you could, mix up your Cheetos or something. I'm kidding. But, really the point is to, move them forward in a kind, empathetic way so that they want to continue that journey of how to always, better themselves in health and wellness.
That's great. And I'm sure a lot of parents and caregivers will find inspiration, as I was talking about, just reading the descriptions on the activity card. There's so many good choices here, Steve, and nothing that's outrageous. It's pretty simple, but it's pretty deep and meaningful when you think about it. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. If you look through, and we all have this in front of us, out there our listeners don't, but looking at just the healthy habits column, try to get 9 full hours of sleep tonight. That's the recommendation from the American Academy of Sleep Medicine, 9 hours for that age group. And sadly, not many of us get 9 hours and not in that age group either. Read a book of your choosing for 20 minutes, to actually open up a book and read and be able to focus on it, building that mental acuity. Wash your hands before eating. It seems pretty straightforward, but we don't always remember that. And then turn off your screens at least 30 minutes before bed. And it's been proven that, turning off those screens, not having that blue light right before bedtime helps you get such a better night's sleep. So just really, I think mindfulness is a huge part of it. Just being aware of the habits that we're building and why we're building those habits. I will say I was at the National Night Out last week, and I saw like 3 or 4 different kids wearing Level Up for Health t-shirts, which was so exciting. And then they came by our booth. The hospital had a little booth there, and we were playing healthy habits trivia and asking questions about healthy habits. And they were pros. They're like, I did Level Up for Health last year. I know all this stuff. Ask me another question. And it was really encouraging just to see that this is making an impact, that students are remembering these lessons. And it just made me smile.
Oh, Steve, thank you so much. Steve Burrows is Director of Community Relations for the Northeastern Nevada Regional Hospital, truly a place of help and healing. And Fallon Dalling with Kinross Bald Mountain, the External Affairs Specialist. And Fallon, it's got to make you feel good, too, to know that this kind of programming, what you're helping to guide and direct on behalf of Kinross and their amazing resources, is making a big difference.
Yeah, I've always felt that the work you do needs to be bigger than yourself. And so when you are helping our youth, in any way you can, helping our seniors, just helping in so many different ways, right? Like giving back to your community is so important. And I'm truly grateful to be part of, Bald Mountain's, funnel to hopefully make that happen for various organizations.
Thank you, Fallon. And of course, the work doesn't stop here, even with, as we ask students, parents, caregivers, family, the community to engage and level up for health. All these great activities from wellness and fitness and nutrition and sleep. You are also recruiting volunteers for some work ahead. Is that right, Steve?
That's correct. So we're really focused on the carnival because it's 2 days away and getting everything ready for that. But that first week of school, we are inviting volunteers. If anyone would like to sign up, we have a link that you can go to and you can actually give me a call. My office number is 775-748-2007. But we're looking for volunteers for 2 areas: to come and to teach a morning session. We have the curriculum. We'll give you the box with all the kit and everything you need for it. And there will be a teacher there as well. So it shouldn't be nerve-wracking or anything, but if you'd like to come and just talk with the kids about health and wellness, we're looking for volunteers next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And then, this is the really fun part, we're looking for volunteers to come and help with games up on the field. We talk a lot about getting those 60 minutes of exercise, so we'll be playing kickball and ultimate frisbee and all sorts of games each lunch period, Monday through Thursday next week. So if anyone out there is interested in volunteering, please give me a call. We do have just a website that we'll send you to and ask you to fill out all your information. But my number is 775-748-2007.
Thank you, Steve. Well, so Fallon, I see here, and I expect you might be helping out with recess activities. I mean, that's one of the volunteer opportunities, right? Cool.
Yeah, that's one of our opportunities that I'm really grateful that we can continue to support the program by providing some fun activities. We'll probably do it on Thursday, and it will be with our mine rescue team. So they'll come out with their truck. The kids usually think it's fun when, they have the siren go off or other things like that. But, and it's a great way for our volunteers in mine rescue to come out and, work with the students and, work with them in a different aspect than maybe they normally would. And they're really excited to do it. So they loved it back in April, and they were happy to do it again for August. So, and then I will be planning on helping with the various morning lessons, and I have other colleagues that are going to come in for a couple of the different days to help with those lessons too. So, it's fantastic, and please, come on out, come help us teach these lessons. It is not terrible. I swear it's super easy. You can follow a script and maybe even veer a little off script and you're good to go.
And having fun at the same time.
Yeah. And the kids love it, right? Like
Yes.
when you get the little hands like, wait a minute. Like I did this yesterday. Does that count? And you're like, yes, actually it does. Like,
Yes.
Let's chat about that.
Yeah, you picked up toys. That's great. You helped your brother or sister. I mean, there are all kinds of other things that fit in those categories too. So it helps the kids to engage and be creative. And how wonderful, again, for Kinross, Northeastern Nevada Regional Hospital. A lot of our focus these days is on wealth, and this is about health. And then you need health to get to wealth. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's nice to have this combination too. So we really appreciate it. And again, it's a great way to kick off the Elko County school year, reaching out in our community with both the Northeastern Nevada Regional Hospital, Kinross Bald Mountain, communities in schools, and all the community partners who are making this a reality, people that we are so familiar with and we have come to really rely on them for their support and appreciation. Well, I want to make sure we got to all of your topics today, both of you. I know the hospital is busy as ever, Steve, and it's so wonderful to help recognize the Mercy Life Point winners. It's great to see people nominated for all the kindness and care that they give at the hospital.
Yeah, we just announced last month our Mercy Award winner, which is kind of our Employee of the Year, is Brent Johnson. He works in our plant operations department. And if you don't know Brent, you're missing out because he's a great guy and he is just nonstop volunteering around the community. If you look at many of the murals around town, many of the art projects, and then just really working on our parks and making sure that kids have a safe place to stay. And at the hospital, his goal has always been to make sure that it is as welcoming to patients as possible. Something he did about a year ago was really refurbished our whole hospice room where patients receive end-of-life care. And he said, these walls are the last thing that some people might see on this earth, and let's paint them, let's make it welcoming, let's make it soothing and calming. He redid the lighting and all of that, and he really talk about empathy and kindness. He personifies that, and so we're super excited for him. He's actually here in a couple weeks going back to Nashville. They're having a big gala ceremony to celebrate all of the Mercy Award winners. We're hoping that he's going to be the company-wide winner. We'll see.
Wow, he certainly set the standard for that. I mean, I had to reach for the tissue. Oh my gosh, that's wonderful. Thank you, Steve, for telling us about him. And again, there are many more employees just like them at our hospital. Great Basin College fall semester opens on the 25th, and I know that we have a lot of beloved employees who've had their training at GBC.
Absolutely. We love our partnership with GBC. I mean, #1 nursing school in the state, #1 nursing program, and their MAPE program, which is MAs and phlebotomists and EKG, and then also the radiology program. We work hand in hand with all of them. I will give a quick shout out to the drive-through flu shot clinic, which is coming up actually 2 months from today, October 11th. We'll be out there doing free flu shots, and it's the GBC students out there that make that happen. So great partnership with them.
A lot to look forward to, and it's obvious we're going to have some more conversations with you, Steve, so come on back, will you?
Oh, absolutely.
All right. Fallon, and again, just the outreach and the the work that Kinross is doing. It's a wonderful company, and all of the things that they're doing for our community. While the physical location of the mine is distant, we certainly feel the presence of Kinross in the community and throughout when you're working on bringing us events like this.
Thank you. That's definitely part of what I'm trying to do. Recently, we also just had a project where we worked with various community partners, including Home Depot, and we helped repaint the Mound Valley Elementary School in jigs. And for us, that's the community that we drive through every single day, right? And so, how do we help those that essentially we immediately we work in their community, right? And so we wanted to give back, and we ended up getting a crew out there and some of our summer students. So we're trying to teach that next generation again, and we wire wheeled the playground equipment, repainted all of it, because some of their monkey bars, right, the paint was just super chipped. So how do we refurbish it so they have a nice place to learn, but also to play? And so it was a great project being able to work with the Elko County School District, as well as Home Depot on really giving them a nice surprise for the start of the school year. But it was a partnership. Like I said, it takes a village to do a program like Level Up for Health, but it also does the same thing when you're doing that kind of activity.
Fallon, thank you so much again for the inspiration. Thank you both for the work that you're doing in our community, and just come on out, everybody, and kick off the school year with health and wellness and the carnival. And that'll be this week, Wednesday, August 13th, Flagview Intermediate. They're on Country Club Drive, just kitty corner from Boys and Girls Clubs, from noon to 4 p.m. Should be a fantastic time. And then you can pick up your own activity cards and get ready to level up for health. Thank you. Thank you, listeners, for joining us for today's edition of Elko Live here on KELK.